Hello, my name is Andrew Cross. I'm an accountant at Bradford Council, and I'm just going to do you a little demonstration of our submission for the Public Finance Innovation Awards. Now, the demo is going to cover a sort of financial reporting system that we've created, which brings together information from numerous systems across the council, like from our ledger, from the adult social care system, children's system, waste theatres, all that sort of stuff. Brings it all together into one reporting system that enables us to analyse sort of value for money performance and that sort of thing, and also for end user managers to be able to see, how their service is getting on and how to respond accordingly. Now, a couple of things to make clear. We have developed these reports, we in finance, so that what I can show you is things which have been produced by us and not by IT consultants. Again, what I'm going to show you has been really inexpensive to make. We've had to pay for a license, a developer license, which is like less than 100 quid. We've also had to use some server space, which we paid for anyway. And there's other than that, there's been some of my time and some of my team's time involved in learning how to do this stuff and how to bring it all together, which we've now done. But anyway, it's been a really inexpensive way of doing things, and it's also something which we are able to share with other councils and other organisations really quite straightforwardly and really inexpensively. So anyway, enough of that. I will now show you a few of the different report types that we've created, and you can see the different capabilities. Okay, so what we're looking at now is a report which looks at the revenue budget variance across the council. So we're forecasting a £6 million overspend currently. This chart at the top shows us which departments we're forecasting to overspend and what we're forecasting to underspend. A table at the bottom here shows the same overspend, but by SIP for band. And then this box here shows the change in the forecast variance from last period. Now all these boxes interact with each other, so if I click on health and wellbeing, then the budget and forecast and variance information has changed to relate just to health and wellbeing. And also this box has changed just to show what the change in the variance was from the last period. These boxes also interact with this box. So if I want to know which departments have got the employees overspend, I click on that, and now that's telling me that the Department of Place has got the biggest overspend on employees. Now, another thing which is really clever about Power BI is its ability to drill down really quickly. So we're looking at the sort of the top of the council at the moment, but we can drill down to the lowest sort of transactional level should we wish. So I just turn on my drill down button, click into health and wellbeing, see that the biggest overspending area is learning disability purchase care. Click on that further, and now it's showing me that the biggest overspend within that area is learning disability residential care and nursing care, partly offset by some home care. And again, if I turn that button off and I click on there, then it'll show me these visualisations have changed to reflect that. Now I could keep drilling down to the lowest transaction level, but I'm not going to for data reasons, but you get the gist. Okay. So we have some other reports here, an actual transactions, just like any other ledger. This looks at budget movements. Again, it's nice and interactive. I can click on there and it'll tell me if I'm wanting to understand what that variant is. I click on, it tells me, says it's a reserve release relating to recruitment and retention and an apprentice levy variant. Okay. Now so far we've just been looking at financial information, but now we're going to look at it with some financial information and some performance information. So I'm going to select health and wellbeing again, then the assistant director area, and then they have a number of different businesses within there, service area, we're going to look at older people residential care that's been purchased. So I'll click on that and two boxes have appeared. One here which is showing the latest variance against budget, and another box here which is showing us the year-to-date spend this year, last year and the year before. Okay, now up here I can now turn on some of the performance indicators. So I click on that and I'm going to look at the numbers of weeks of care that money's bought us. And that's telling me that we've bought 18,000 weeks of care this year. At the same point last year it was 20,000, at the same point the year before 23,000. So we can see a definite downward trajectory. And that's in line with our strategy, so that's all pleasing. Now, as we've got the actual financial information and we've got the activity information, divide one into the other, and that gives us some unit costs, so we can see unit costs over time. And then the box at the bottom here is explaining the change in spend between this year and last year by looking at the impact of the change in the unit cost since last year and the impact of the change in quantity since last year. Now there we're looking at weeks of care, but if we were interested in people, and there's going to be a high correlation, but click on people supported instead, and that's showing me that we've got 700 people in care currently, where at the same point last year we had 803 and 899 the year before, and that's the year-to-date unit cost comparators. Okay, now we can do that for any service across the council. Here we're looking at the access service, which is like a sort of call centre for social care, first point of contact. And here we've got some KPIs for the access service. So there we've got the numbers of contacts they've been dealing with, again unit costing information. Let's have a look at the assessment and support area. Can look at the numbers of new clients who've been assessed in the period. Now here we don't have any unit costing information because it doesn't make sense to. That those teams do all sorts of they have all sorts of outputs, like assessing clients, new period, reassessing clients, assessing new clients, assessing for mental capacity assessments, sensory needs, all that sort of stuff. Okay, and we could do that for any service in the council, like, so we could do it for waste services, sports facilities, theatres, looked after children. Okay, you get the gist. So I've got some other reports here, like savings tracker. Again, we can drill in and find out why savings aren't being delivered as intended. With the mitigating actions, got a report here which looks at some of the explanations for forecast variances. I'll just do you a little show of that. So that's just telling us those are the reasons for the overspends at Thompson Court, which is the biggest variance area within older people residential and daycare, and that's showing the variance by SIPFA band. Now, so we have that sort of information for all sorts of cost centres where we've got material variances. Then our group accountants and business advisors then aggregate that together and give a sort of a reg status by different service area within that assistant director's responsibility. So a lot of services are performing well and in line with targets and budgets. We've got some which are these are overspending marginally. There might be some emerging issues with them, and then these ones we've got some big issues with. And then we've got some like an issue rank, so that we can ensure that meetings focus on those biggest issues first. So I click on older people home care. That's outlining what the issue is, why we're overspending. That's because we've got more hours of care being supported and more people being supported. And we can see that because we've got some activity data down the side here, which is showing we've had many more hours, 60,000 more hours that we've bought this year in comparison to last year and the year before. We've got more people being supported. And then we've got budget and forecast and variance information there. And then we've got some year-to-date actual spends there. And importantly, what we have is the mitigating action. So what is it that we're going to do about that problem? Okay. Now again, we do that for any any service within the council. This sort of report is largely aimed at sort of assistant directors and their management teams. Okay, so well, you get the gist. Yeah, and then we've got some other reports in here like reserve movements. We have some year-to-date actual spend information. So what we do. Let's have a look at agency spend across the whole council. So that's agency spend across the whole council, and that's it split by different department. I can click on any of these things and it'll all the different tables interact with it. And again, I can drill down into these should I wish to. Okay. Now we have some other reports in there which look at things like the recharges. I've got some benchmark info here. So this is an adult social care benchmark, ask off. Let's say you're interested in the numbers of long-term support needs of older adults met by admission to residential nursing care. I'll click on that. I can see that we're going in the right direction of travel, which, given what we looked at previously, isn't a surprise. But we can see how we're getting on in comparison to other council areas. So, we're slightly lower than Leeds, slightly higher than Kirklees, a chunk lower than the Yorkshire and Humber average, and a chunk lower than the England average. As that's in line with our strategy, then it's all sort of good news. Okay, I've got all sorts of other reports in here. I won't go through them now. And yeah, this is used by our budget holders, service managers across the council. We also have some other. We use Power BI for other things. So again, this is web based. So we have some like open data. This is called the district dashboard, and this looks at sort of some of the key metrics across the district. So we've got population, household growth, that sort of thing. And I can click into some of these things, and again, this is available on a website, so anyone can see it. Okay, so this is looking at the percentage of pupils in good or outstanding schools and trends over time. Here we've got some different authorities. Provider types we can search by, Ofsted phases we can search by. It's also got some mapping technology. So this is the latest Ofsted inspection results. So if I want to know where the outstanding schools are, I click on there. I can see that Bradford school is an outstanding school with the numbers of people, with 1,784 pupils. I can see by provider type, so how many of those are academies, how many of those are free schools, how many of those are local authority schools, and so on. Anyway, okay, so I'll leave it there. But hopefully that gives you a flavour of what can be done. All of these reports are being produced either by finance staff or staff in our performance teams. These tend to be like analysts rather than IT people. And again, we've done it exceptionally cheaply, and these sort of reports are shareable with other councils who can then adapt it to their data. And yeah. So hopefully this has been useful, and that is our submission. Thank you.